something you want to...
No pressure.
Of course, we, have to keep it short, but we don't want to play the playing off music for you, but we would love to invite people up.
5 minutes.
We tried to get a sign-up sheet, but that didn't really work. So just if you have something you want to share, I asked John Bird if I could share something that I read that made me laugh this week, because, really, we all need it. He said, oh God, I need glasses. He said, I'm not sure when the next Glue show might be, but I had an idea for flanking keyboardist handles. And then he wrote, ready? If you don't mind being Mary Shelley Long, I could be George Martin Short. Thank you.
Wow.
I really thought that killed.
Well, there's not really any sort of way. I'm going to share first just a few minutes of my thoughts about Shecky. I met Shecky in 1988 through our dear friend Eric Johnson, and I'm just gonna kind of cut to it. I mean, all these notes. I'm going to just share the first time Shecky ever made me laugh when I kind of went, this guy. Oh, my glasses. I didn't wear my glasses. Of course, we know Shecky did amazing impressions, and I always like doing impressions of Shecky doing the impressions. Of course, we saw the Archie Bunker, Joan Baez, of course, the Sammy Davis Jr. is Bob Hope, Herman Munster, Jerry Lewis, Vincent Price, and he nailed them all. But the first one that I ever heard Shecky was Scatman Crothers, and there was a little twist, and I hope you get. I could get a little water. That's right. When Shecky flew to Nashville with Jane to marry my wife and I, we live in Nashville, Tennessee. We got married at the Musicians Hall of Fame, and Shecky got a little in it. And he goes in the wedding video. He's like, kind of perchy. And then he went in the ceremony. Tic Tac, anyone? Here we go. This is Shecky, the impression of the first time Shecky ever made me laugh. Here we go. This is from The Shining. Do you know how, and I can't do Scatman, but I'll try. Do you know how I knew your name was Doc? You know what I'm talking about. I can remember when I was a little boy, my grandmother and I could hold entire conversations without ever opening our mouths. They called it shining. For a long time, I thought I was the only two that had it, just like you thought. You were the only one that had it, but other folks had it. They just don't want to believe it. You know, Doc. When something happens, it can leave a trace of itself behind. Say like when someone burns toast. Shecky had the whistle so perfect. It's like when someone burns toast. That little nuance, I'm like, and I didn't even know really anything about Michael's music yet. And I'm like, this guy. And so, 30 years later, I mean, my God. So, Michael. Oh my gosh. I'm going to try to keep it together here. Yeah.
Would someone like to take
music?
Jimmy Hahn.
Music.
Jimmy.
Jimmy Hahn, get up there, bud.
Michael would say, come on.
Tom Fletcher, everybody. Right here, Tom Fletcher. Tom Fletcher.
We're here with you, Tom. It's all right. No.
That film, man. Jesus Christ. I know. Cry every second.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? So I just want to share some things about Mike that were really early on for Jimmy and I. You know, I think we were 12. And we were in junior high school. And our first real experience, we were in, I'm sorry, I'll get this the best I can without getting the playoff. Miss Jensen's music class. We were all in choir together, and Mike and Kathy were in madrigals. But there was a school assembly, and Jay Sarno Jr. and those guys carried the piano down, and Mike sat on his hair, along with his dopey sneezy shit. He looked like Lee Michaels, for Christ's sake. He sat down and played, now I'm forgetting it because I'm just up there. Yeah, Leon Russell up on a tight wire. Yeah.
I love that song.
Fucking nailed it. I mean, and Jimmy and I are going, you know, all the cute little hippie girls in here are digging the hell out of Mike. I think we're following him home. We did. Very next band, I'm Chaplain Spaulding's fucking classroom. It was our social studies class, and these guys were so hip, they're like, yeah, bring your band in and jam, come on. And again, we followed Mike home. Nothing. I never remember, I mean, he was responsible for everything. And that was about the time Jimmy started playing guitar. I was like, man, well, what can I do? He's like, man, why don't you figure out how to record us? Needless to say, we're that way. You know? Thank you, Mikey. I got to tell you about his crazy timing. This is funny. There's other stuff, but I don't want to take too long. His timing is incredible, which is, I think, why Stevie P and his Mikey love calling you Stevie Toto. Yeah. He was coming into the Las Vegas recording studio one day, it's a long time ago. I was recording this thing, and the bass on it was just awful. And Mike comes in the door, and he's like, and here's the setup. So I'm here at the console, it's a couch behind me, you couldn't see anyone, he's laying on it. Mike walks in, he's like, who the fuck played that bass? He goes, it's fucking great, man. It was like he had me fired and hired all in the same time. Oh, man. I could stand here for 5 years talking about all this. It's just unbelievable. Man, you know, and I know all the OGs are here. I should say it like Mike could say it, all the OGs. I could say for all of us, Mike, you're be in our hearts forever. I mean, who am I going to call to play great keyboards on my records? Anyway, Billy, Phyllis, love you with all my heart. Jimmy, everybody, you know, there's so many I can't begin to even to go on. So love you, Tom. I love you so much.
Tom Fletcher. Tom Fletcher. All right, Billy, come on up here. Michael, brother Billy.
Oh my goodness.
Billy.
I'm going to tell some funny stories. So, needless to say, we're brothers, and that comes with a sense of tension. As much as we loved each other, working together was always a tricky thing to do. So, when I infiltrated Logic at a very young age and joined his band and went from being the roadie of 16 or 17 years old and somehow found myself in the band, Mike was kind of like, we used to kick you out of rehearsal. How the hell did you get in here? And to that end, I have a vivid memory, which is funny. of, you know, Tom's house with Vicky and Mark. They were gracious enough to let the then, whatever it was called, Logic Livewire at the time, Mike's band with Jimmy and all the guys. And I was 5 years younger, so there was this age difference at the time. Well, now I'm 55, he's 60. Not as big a deal, but back then it was a huge thing to have your 10-year-old brother hanging out. It's not cool. I thought I was cool, they did not. And I just wanted to hang with the guys, you know? So I would show up at the jam room at Vicky's house, and I'd hear them playing Close to the Edge and all these Yes songs, because they would play a lot of Yes material. And I was pounding on the door, man, let me in, I want to come in. And every time I did, you know, the music would stop, and I'd just hear, who is it? And I'd go, it's Billy, let me in. And there'd be a unanimous, no, get the hell out of here. Which fast forward to, I don't know, some of you know, some of you not, but I'm in Yes, I've been in Yes for a while. And so the tables turn when they want free tickets. And I'm like, I'm not really sure, I gotta go. But I managed to get him a couple of seats in the nosebleeds and get him in. But that was kind of the beginning of my desire to really take up music, because I was watching Jimmy and Mike and Tom and Mark and Gary Starnes, and they were my heroes growing up musically. And I wanted to be a rock and roller like they were, but I was just behind the train 5 years. And so, as I said, when they formed Logic and moved to LA, I was here living with Mom already. And I was like, well, shit, they're here, and I gotta be a part of this. So Barry Morgan's out here somewhere, who was the manager of the band, and we need a roadie. I'm like, cool, I'll push the gear, I don't care. So I ended up pushing the gear, and then eventually, as things happened, I joined the band, and off we went. And so now comes the bigger problem, because now we're working together. There's a bit of tension there every now and then. And we were rehearsing at this place called Leeds in the Valley, which was the Toto rehearsal studio, which was just an incredible place to be, because all the amazing artists were there, including Toto and Shaka Khan and all these great artists. So we were down the hall, and we would be doing our thing, and I'll never forget, we're playing some silly song we've written called Red Light, and in comes Jeff Porcaro, and he just comes in, and he's just standing there, and we all know who he is, and we knew they were down the hall, but we didn't dare bother them, because it was like, that's Toto, what are we going to say to them? And so we're all playing this silly song, and Jeff walks in, and it's like, I remember the whole thing kind of comes to a grinding halt. We're kind of awkwardly standing there, and Jeff goes, no, keep playing this song, man, keep playing this song. And we're like, wow, it's Jeff Porcaro, he wants to hear the song. Let's play the song. So we played the song, and he split. And we stopped, and I looked at the guys and went, obviously he did not dig that very much. I thought, well, shit, that didn't go very well. And then in comes Jeff with his brother Steve and David Page. And Jeff says, play that song for these guys again. And Luke was there. So we played Red Light, and that moment was a pivotal moment for not only all of our careers, but for me personally, because, I'd be a barista at Starbucks right now. Which I wouldn't mind, if you could half off on the coffee. But I drink too much of it. And they were gracious enough to work with us, and they waltzed us into A&M Records, and now we're doing this thing that everyone was dreaming of in the band, and it was just an amazing opportunity. But then came the seriousness of making a first record, and so of course there's this tug of war between the band members and what material we're going to play, how we're going to do it, who's going to produce what. And we find ourselves there working, and Toto's bringing in gear for us to use. Here, guys, use this, try this, try this. And I don't remember what the exact unit was, but it was like one of the first samplers ever, where you could play a key. An emulator. And of course Mike gets it, and we saw a little bit of it in this video where he had that thing and he was like, rap, rap, rap. That never stopped. Okay? And so when Mike got this fucking emulator, my first thought was, Jesus, why did Steve Porcaro bring this in? Why did he do this to us? And sure enough, Jimmy will attest to this. There was a particular rehearsal that Jimmy and I were just laughing about, where, bless his heart, Mike, playing the song, and it's like, bop, bop, this sample of something, and now he's improvising with the sample, and it's driving me fucking nuts. And, you know, I'm a pretty opinionated, snobby kind of musician. I mean, I'm in Yes, so you don't get any snobbier than that. And so I look at Mike and I go, dude, once, twice, cool, but like, Jesus Christ, don't make a career out of this thing in this song. And he's like, well, I thought it was kind of cool. I'm like, well, it doesn't sound very cool, does it? And he's like, now we're getting into this tension thing. Okay, let's play the song again, you know what I mean? Let's try to just tone it down a little bit. And sure enough, Mike, you know, being Mike, looking straight at me, he's like, and I stopped the band, I'm like, wait, guys, hang on a minute. And everybody's like, what? And I look at Mike, I'm like, dude, you know that thing you're doing? He goes, yeah. I said, and you're doing it a lot? He's like, yeah. I said, it is kind of cool, but if you could not do it at all, it'd be even cooler. And I'll never forget that day. And of course, you know, we went on to make the Logic